Hello. Oh, wait, I gotta take that banner off. I always keep forgetting to do that. Hide. I thought I told you to hide. There it went. Well, here we are, live and unscripted again. Yeah, I don't really have anything to talk about. Um, I just need to continue practicing this and learning some stuff with StreamYard and um, just getting in the habit of content creation and stuff like this. So that I can better market the B&B and if I market any more on Robin's desktop, any of the work I'm doing there, and just some of the stuff generally that I'm into. So it's just a matter of um, out here wanting to chat if you want to chat and talking to some folks. I don't have the type of account that will let me stream out to Telegram. I've got 3 places I can stream to. I live stream to. I can live stream to YouTube. I can live stream to Facebook page and my Facebook profile. So I guess I could take one of those off. I wouldn't want to take off YouTube, obviously, because it's like the big dog out there. It's getting kind of old dog, but he's big dog out there. Um, I don't want to take off Holstein House, and that only leaves my regular Facebook page. So there's a lot more people I'm connected with there, but they don't interact very much. So I don't know. It's Friday again. Got any good plans for the weekend? I don't really. I've got to take. I haven't gotten the tags changed on the from the Saturn to the Jetta. I have to stop and think. It's what a drag it is getting old. There was a great philosopher that said that one time, and he was right. I I need to do that. The timing has just been a nightmare because if I'm not at DMV first thing in the morning, I'm not going to go because if you don't go early, you're going to be there the rest of the day. Um, if my experience has been if you go to DMV at 10 o'clock in the morning or later, you're not getting out of there alive because you're going to kill somebody and they're going to put you to the death penalty. But so I have to do. I have the paperwork. Everything's ready. As far as I know, I went on and checked the requirements to do this, pre-filled out the form, had the insurance card and all that stuff. So it should not take long, but where they now allow you to make appointments and they make appointments so far in advance. Um, it's crazy. So you just kind of have it's like going to the doctor's office and you're a walk-in patient. They kind of fit you in wherever they can. So at least it was like that the last time I was there. But I need to do that, and that's probably going to end up being in the morning because I'm not going to get out. It's after 10 now, so I'm not going today, and it's Friday. And y'all say hey. Um, so I'll have to do that in the morning, and that's just going to make the weekend just a crap fest. Hello, everyone. How are y'all? There it goes. I thought there for a minute it wasn't going to publish. So that's probably it. And of course, church on Sundays, you know, that's a given. That's like that's not written in ink. That's chiseled. That's chiseled in stone. There'll be church on Sunday. Today, I misspelled how. That's what I get for not having my glasses on. Um, today's dad's INR test. He'll come over about noon. So I keep looking at that clock, and I stopped it so it wouldn't cuckoo. Because every time I do a video, and I was getting ready to kick on the sound and stuff, and it's off a little bit again because it's constantly being. I cannot get it dialed in. And just about the time I was about to unmute, it started chiming 10 o'clock, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went over and I stopped it. So it's not going to chime, but I keep looking up there out of habit, looking for it, see what time it is. So the weather is turning. It's still really wet. The yards haven't dried out any. We had some rain yesterday. We had a lot of wind last night, and it was kind of snowy, sleety this morning before dawn, and it's still real wet. But that's the state. I mean, 3/4 of the year, it's the ground is damp and squishy. And the only reason I noticed that is because going out to let the chickens and the ducks out and stuff. I'm just out around it all the time now, where I didn't used to be. And I really need some dry weather to do a few things out in the yard, but I don't think that's going to happen for a while. It doesn't necessarily have to be warm. I mean, above freezing, but it doesn't. It really needs to be dry. Wild onions or wild garlic, whichever one it is up in our yard, probably 4 or 5 inches. And I don't know if it was last January or not. It was either last January or the January before. Mr. Holstein was cutting grass in January because the wild stuff like the onions and the garlic and the really weird weeds were high. He absolutely does not want the grass tall. So let's see. Oh, I'm sorry if the captions are on. I don't know if everyone sees the captions on Facebook or if it's just uh, like hit and miss. Because I've got one of the Facebook pages on my phone open and the captions are there. So I don't know if it's my individual settings or if everybody sees them. I hope not everybody sees them. I hate captions. So we're going to do that. I have been looking for the brackets online and at the box stores, physical brick and mortar stores, for those rails for the porch rails and the balusters. I absolutely can't find it. We bought a bunch of them at Home Depot when we got the columns, and they're not the right ones. They don't fit at all. So I had to take them all back. And I keep looking for them, and I swear they look. I mean, I can't understand. It looks exactly like what I'm seeing at the box stores, except when I bring a bracket, like I'll just get one now, bring it back and set it up against the top rail, it doesn't fit. So I spent a lot of time this morning before daylight looking, and there's this stuff over at Lowe's called Trex railing. It's a composite railing. The ones that they show that's in stock has the white rails and the dark either black or bronze balusters. I'd rather have the white ones, but I don't see the option. They really look shaped exactly like what I've got out there now for the top rail. Now, not the balusters. On those, they're more of a spindle, but the top rail looks like it's shaped identically. But when you see the bracket, it doesn't match it. So I didn't see any. I was over there Thursday. No, today's Friday. Wednesday. No, Tuesday, because Wednesday was Bible study. Oh my gosh. Tuesday, I was over in town, and I went over to the stores and I was looking. I had to go out towards Southridge, so I went on out there and I looked at Home Depot again to see if they had something different come in, and they didn't. And I'd stopped back at Lowe's on my way back through, and didn't see them there either. And I just don't know. I I mentioned to Mr. Holstein this morning that I just really can't find what matches what we have. And he said, well, we may just have to take a piece of, just a little piece of 2x4 or something, match it up to the bracket that we can get, trim it out, make it fit, and all this stuff. And I don't doubt that. I mean, he probably can do it, but he doesn't have time. I mean, he really doesn't have time. So I just, it's darned if you do, darned if you don't. I don't want to leave that porch with no rails on it much longer. But I don't want to directly drill the way, put these, big deck screws through the rails the way they had them in the old ones. And because it just, I don't think it was effective, and I think it looked awful. And, once you put a hole in the ones that we've got, you're not going to put wood filler in there if you make a mistake, because they're composite columns. The columns we got are composite. I don't know. I'm actually leaning towards just getting new ones and getting a hold of the contractor and say, can you put new ones up? Because we're looking at maybe 4 sections of rail, the whole, because they sell them in the whole with the top and the bottom and all the balusters and a kit, I think is what they call them, a kit. Just getting 4 of those, and a couple of them will have to be trimmed because there'll be 3, 1 on each side that should be full size. I got to go out there and measure. I can do that here in a few minutes after we get off here. Measure each side, because I think those kits come in 6-foot lengths, 6 foot long, 36 inches tall, which is fine. And then, so there'll be 3 of those, 1 on each side and 1 in the front. I think the one in the front is the one that throws me. Is it a 6-foot piece or not? Then the handrails for the stairs, I guess they would have to be different ones, because they make them for stairs and they're angled, so you don't have to try to do that by yourself. And then there's just a tiny little section from one corner of the porch to the handrail, that, because of the way the porch was built, probably, I don't know, 18 inches wide. But then you need, if it's all going to look right and work right, because these are composite as well. They're not wood. They're composite. And then you wouldn't want to, there's a couple of posts up against the house on each end that would need to be that composite stuff, and would need to have the cap and the base. I mean, it looked to me, and I'm not good at this stuff. My math skills are always weak. They always have been. But what I came up with, just to buy the materials for that, and I'm probably under, because I probably need an extra panel that I didn't anticipate. Probably about $800 just for that, and then labor costs. So we're looking probably another $1,800 just for that front porch. And I don't have my stamp. I don't have my stamp, my notary stamp still. It's been a little over a week since I reached out to National Notary and found out that my stamp, the box that my notary stamp was sent to me in, was returned to them empty, which means my stamp was either stolen or lost. But at any rate, it has to be reported. I did report it to the Secretary of State's office. I shared that with you one day last week. Probably, was it Tuesday or Friday? May have been Friday. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't heard any more about it. And so I've been, I'll get, I wouldn't have done any work over Christmas anyway. So the week between Christmas and New Year's, I wouldn't have done it. And my commission expired on the 20th. So from the 20th to, say, the 2nd, 20th of December to the 2nd of January, um, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have been working anyway. But from the 2nd of January to today has been 19 days. 19 days I've not been able to work because I don't have that stamp. And while most people think, well, notary, how much do you get? There's some jobs that I do that I make decent money, and I cannot do those jobs. Jobs that involve real estate that I can't do, and the money's not. I was, it's aggravating me, and I did send an email early this morning, probably about 6 o'clock, because I was working on other stuff at 6. And I thought, I don't have it stamped. I'm going to ask them about this. So I sent an email out at 6 o'clock this morning asking what the status was, because I can't find any record of it being in process. I had the original order was showing completed, and that's what caused me to call them and say, what's going on? I don't have it, and find out that it's been lost or stolen. So they created another order and then credited me for that stamp. So the stamp was $29. So they created an order for a stamp, and then they credited me back $29 for the stamp. But that order shows completed as well, and I don't have the stamp. So I don't know what's going on. It's been paid for, and the expedited shipping's been paid for. So I don't I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to call them maybe this afternoon if I don't hear back when we get off here. So that's frustrating. That's very frustrating, because that's money that I need. It's my job, y'all. It's my job. Um, I'm reading, folks are talking about getting dental work done. Mr. Holstein and I actually have dental appointments coming up next week. We ever so often we get out of whack with it. We don't go in for our dental work or cleaning. Overall I have fairly good teeth. I've got TMJ, and so I grind a lot. I've learned to not clench in my sleep. It takes a lot of practice. It really does. You have to really work on it, because ideally your jaw actually isn't touching when you're relaxed. So your lips are closed, but your teeth are not touching when you're in a state of relax, or just, in general. So an oral surgeon told me to get in the habit of thinking what's going on with my jaw. And I would think, yeah, exactly. Because I was going through treatments for TMJ. I had the big mouth thing, and I was sleeping in all the time, and taking ibuprofen 800, woo, to relieve the inflammation in the jaw and stuff. And I mean, when I went to the dentist the first time before I was diagnosed with it, I couldn't get my teeth apart, which wouldn't hurt me to do now. But so I went in, and they took the measuring stick. They said, open as far as you can, but don't hurt yourself. And I didn't very much. And he said, you've got TMJ. I'm going to send you off to a specialist, and here's some anti-inflammatories and some muscle relaxants for a day or so, and then some anti-inflammatories until you get to that next appointment. And went through all that. So I had to learn to not clench my teeth, and I do okay for the most part. Every now and again I catch it. And I have a CPAP now too, and it presses on my. It's just the nasal one. It's not the full face one. I started with the full face one, and I couldn't. It just was killing me. I mean, and it was plus it was up too high. It was choking me to death with air. So I've got the one that just sits on the nose now, but it sits also right here at my upper lip, so it keeps my upper lip irritated. So I've constantly got a little red spot there um, on my upper lip where it just rubs all the time. Plus, it's mashing in on my upper teeth, and so my upper teeth are getting out of alignment. I've also got a jaw tooth gone now that I didn't used to have, so the teeth are all kind of shuffling around. But overall, I've got genetically, I've got really good teeth. At my age, I have, like I said, I had my wisdom teeth out, but 90% of us have those out anyway. If they hadn't come out, they would have been coming through the roof of my mouth. But I have all but two jaw teeth, and those are upper. They cracked. They wanted to do root canals. I said, no, 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 no. I've seen too many people that had root canals done that ended up with a lot of issues. The caps would crack, the crowns would come off, or the other way around maybe. They'd end up having to go in for something. They'd have to replace something, and the tooth would crack. The tooth would crack, not just with the crown, and they just stayed. It was a constant battle. So they were in there for all of the pre-treatment and all this stuff they do to destroy the nerve and drill it out and all the stuff they got to do. So dealing with all that pain and agony and frustration, and then off and on for the next 2 or 3 years, they continued to have trouble with those teeth, and then eventually the tooth was pulled. So it was like they were just, it was inevitable. They were just postponing the inevitable of the tooth having to come out. So when when my dentist said, well, you're going to need a root canal, I said, no, I don't think so. And he says, well, you don't want to get? I said, no. And I explained to him why. And he said, well, I don't think you'll miss that particular tooth. And he said, we just have to watch because sometimes, the other teeth shuffle around. And I said, that's fine, whatever, but I'm not gonna go through all that. I said, now, if it ends up being a front tooth, something that people are going to see, something that's going to distract, because, we can pretend all day long, but it's very distracting when someone has something going on with their dental work in the front. So I said, maybe then. And I have one on this side. I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, this side. That's moving. So it kind of looks like I'm missing a tooth, but I'm not really missing a tooth. It's just instead of being straight up and down, it's kicked over this way. So there's a gap between my teeth. But the tooth's there. So I'm not toothless. And for a long time I was very conscious of which way I had photos taken. I would always, but it's all right. Doesn't matter. Well, let's see. What sounds good to talk about today? It's 25 after. Some of you guys are going to hear this on the podcast because I'll rip out the audio and I'll post it as the podcast. And my favorite podcast, if you haven't figured that out by now, is Fountain.fm. And Fountain's part of the Value from Value network, and it's the way that works is if you are part of that and you hear, instead of having paid advertisements and paid sponsors, we share. It's kind of like tipping your wait staff or tipping the bellhop, or but it's really you're really just showing your appreciation for their efforts. And while that's also tipping, in a sense, tipping is, especially in a restaurant, is considered a percentage of what you paid for something else. And you're not paying for anything here. So it's a contribution, if you would like. And on Fountain, it's done with Satoshis, and Satoshis are the micro um, um, oh, gee, I had it right on my tongue. I said it earlier. Um, anyway, they're the micro coinage of Bitcoin. So where a single Bitcoin is, I haven't looked today. I think it's still around $21,000. Satoshis are kind of like your nickels, dimes, and pennies, and they're based on a metric system. They're based on a series of the hundreds. So not the metric system, but decimal system. It feels like Monday. Tripping all over my language here. But also the podcast is available on Apple Podcasts and Google and Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon Music, Audible, TuneIn and iHeart, Player, Listen Notes. I got to find out what that Listen Notes is. I don't know what that is at all. And Samsung. So if you're part of the Value for Value Network and you hear something that makes you chuckle, makes you groan, and makes you think, makes you mad, makes you happy, makes you sleepy, I hope you'll share some of that value with me. I have one person that listens to me on Fountain said I put him to sleep when I talk. I said, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But okay, as long as you're listening, whether you're listening in your sleep, I don't care. So, I forgot. Yeah. So I did the cookbook. Where's my cookbook? I had it right here because I was messing with it yesterday. Hang on, excuse me. Where'd it go? It was right here. I'll be darned. Where did I put that thing? I know you're watching me look. It's behind me. So, and I had my car keys sitting on it. So, for those of you who don't know, I actually have a couple cookbooks out. I have the other one's on Amazon under my name. Well, my name and the middle initial, Robin A. Holstein. So you'd have to look it up that way. But I have an ebook, a cookbook ebook that I have on Etsy. And the link, I'll put the link for it's in the description or show notes, depending on where you're hearing this or watching it. So it's the cookbook that I put together for a program. A friend of mine has a program for women, and I put it together for them because of their exceptional low income, or if you really want to say poverty. So they have almost no money coming in. They're just getting back on their feet for a variety of reasons. And we talked about they struggle to make ends meet and maybe don't have good money management skills. So they've got, a week or two between checks or paydays or whatever, and they've blown all their cash or almost all of it. So I put this together, and it's called let me tip it around where it's not glaring. And of course, you're looking at it backwards. Super meal ideas for tight budgets. Feed your family on $10 or less a day. And I did yesterday. I spent some time, and I'm not the best at putting videos together and stuff, but I spent some time putting up, recording 3 videos. They didn't all go live yesterday. One of them did. A breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. And this is the breakfast one that I put up yesterday. So the video's on the YouTube and it's on Rumble. It's this one I titled Super Scramble. Can you guess what it's made with? The ingredients are 2 tablespoons of butter, a can of one of the following, either cheese soup, cream of celery, cream of chicken, or cream of mushroom soup. Now, I don't like mushroom soup. I mean, if you want to put it in meatloaf or roast or something like that, okay, but not to eat mushroom soup. I don't like mushrooms and I don't like them in my scrambled eggs. I personally wouldn't try celery, but you can use it. You can use it. It's okay. You can do it. Chicken is okay. And the cheese that I used was Fiesta nacho cheese. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that in an off brand. I had to get the brand name. And part of this whole thing is to keep the cost down. Now, this is for a family of 4, so you would use 8 eggs, the whole can of soup, the whole 10.5-ounce can of soup, 8 eggs, salt and pepper to taste. And you just basically, you want your butter in your heavy skillet, you mix your soup and your eggs, and you beat those up, and you put them in the skillet, and you scramble your eggs. And with the nacho cheese soup, you probably wouldn't have to use a whole can because you're going to adjust that to taste. But that's the recipe. I like the Fiesta nacho cheese. I think it gives a great little spicy taste to the scrambled eggs. So you won't be able to see the image of, I don't think, that's a serving suggestion with a couple slices of bacon, some toast, and coffee. And that meal, as it sits for a family of 4, is under $3, and I'll just round it up to 50 cents. So that was the first one I did. It's up at YouTube now. I did another one on tomato and cheese soup, which is along the same lines. You're going to use a can of tomato soup, a can of Fiesta nacho cheese or cheddar cheese, doesn't matter. Again, I couldn't find the cheese soups in the off-brand names. And garnish with bacon crumbles, croutons, or crackers, and just a little extra cheese just for a dab of garnish, because it's really cheese laden, so you don't need to put a whole lot of. And again, that one's under $3.50. Then where is it? Where is it? Now the dinner one was a little more hearty, and Mr. Holstein loved it. I fed it to him last night. Bean, bacon, and burger. Let's see. I don't know. Trying to get the glare off of that picture. I don't think I can. It's made with. Oops, sorry. It's made with chopped onion, chopped green pepper, butter, a pound of ground beef, which throws the price off a little bit. I put this together back in October of last year, so October of 2022. Bean with bacon soup, water, ketchup, and then hamburger buns, but I used an English muffin because I had English muffins. And it comes out almost like a chili. Almost like a chili. But the book has information in the back, a section I called Miscellany. Talks about different types of breads and the cost of breads and ways to save money on bread, single servings, cheeses, milks, potatoes, and rice, about how important it can be to have a good presentation when you're struggling. You know, when you don't have money, the small things mean a lot. So if instead of just using plastic forks and spoons and styrofoam bowls, take time ever so often to use real ones. And if you don't have a full set, if you have a little extra change, the thrift shops have, a lot of times, they're not sets, they're just individual pieces, but you can put a couple of place settings together for very reasonable, very low price, under $5, and have a nice place setting every now and again, and just treat yourself. And it doesn't cost that much. A little information from the USDA on storing soups, the kind of soups that you crack open from a can. A little information on Best By dates. A shopping list. I got some harsh light here. Shopping list for all of the things that are in the book. a price comparison chart, which I put together again, week ending October 1st, 2022. It compares the store brand and the brand name on the soups that I found that had both, like cream of chicken soup. The Campbell soup on October 1st of last year was $1.18 a can, and the off brand was 57 cents a can. So to show little differences in the price and how you can save money, I mean, you're saving almost half there. Some I couldn't find store brands for, like the cheese, like clam chowder, like jambalaya. A dozen eggs, a dozen large eggs on October 1st, 2022 was $2.27. So, and then a measurement and conversion table from standard to metrics, because sometimes you need to know how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon and how many half teaspoons is in a milliliter. And then just how to reach me and social media and stuff like that. But yeah, it's super meal ideas for tight budgets. Feed yourself and your family for less than $10 a day. And it's on Etsy. Look up Holstein. Well, the link's down there. So a week from today, the second video for the recipe will go out. And a week from that, the third one will go out. So it's a little mini series of 3 recipes that I did in my not made for Pinterest kitchen. Now what do you want to know? Oh, so some of my ducks are starting. I think I told you this already. I lose track. My leghorns are molting and not laying. They're the ones that lay my nice larger white eggs. The ducks haven't laid in forever and are at risk for going into the duck soup pot. My Isa Browns, one of them's laying. I don't know which one. It may be both of them. They may be alternating days, but I kind of doubt it. So I'm getting one brown egg, and one of my Easter eggers is laying. Gronk. I know Gronk's laying. Gronk is named that because the weird noise she makes. It sounds just like that. She's laying. And the reason I know she's the one laying one of the green eggs, there's 2 green egg layers because one day I got 2 green eggs, is because I caught her. She came out of cackling and I saw her and I reached in the box and it was still warm and snuggly. But so I'm trying to increase the protein for them because especially during the molt, they need more protein. And they have their free access to oyster shell for calcium. They have they're still getting out several times a week, so they're getting plenty enough for grit. I'm trying to increase their protein. Protein is also important for the development of the eggs. And they don't like it when I keep them locked up, but I'm trying to keep them locked up later into the day to make sure that they remember that they're to lay their eggs in the nest box and not out in the yard someplace. Because every now and again, I think somebody sneaks off and lays an egg, but I think that, and then I don't find any evidence of it. So I've moved. I have had wild bird seed feeders off to this side of the house, and the chickens were hopping the fence to get to the wild bird seed. And I don't know why it took me so long to say, dummy, move the wild bird feeders to the back of the yard, and the chickens will stay back there because they want to eat everything that the wild birds flop over into the grass. And so far it's worked. They have gone across the fence, checked where the feeders used to be, and then gone back to where they are now. So it's something that simple. Duh. And I had to do the math. And I hate this. And I did let one of my best customers know. I absolutely had to do the math on what it was costing me for feed and supplements. And by supplements, I don't mean like vitamins and stuff. I mean like for the calcium, which, okay, that falls there. But the additional proteins in the form of the fly larvae and stuff, the scratch that I use to help keep, especially in the winter, they get a little extra scratch because it helps keep them warm, because they're burning that, they're burning that those carbohydrates off, and they're staying a little warmer. And it's also a little treat to tease them back into the run when they've been out. But there's some of those, and then the straw and the pine shavings that I need for inside the coop to keep that dry and cleaned up. So I did a little spreadsheet, and I put all of them in there, and I put how many chickens, and I put the cost divided by the chickens over the amount of time, and blah 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 per egg and dozen, and I have to raise my prices on my eggs. So I've got some eggs to deliver today. I managed to get a couple dozens together now that they're starting to lay a little better. And I let him know. I said, I just, not this round, but next round, they're going to have to be $4 a dozen now, which I still think it's kind of low compared to what you're paying out in the wild at the box stores. But I couldn't. It's a matter of the math. It's a matter of the math, and you have to be able to, buy the feed. If you don't buy the feed, the birds will starve. So it's a little bit of a balancing game. It just got to the point where I have to do that. And I'm probably going to take on 2 or 3 more birds this year so that they'll be laying this fall. So I still won't have that many, laying at any one time, especially in the winter, but we'll still have some eggs so that when I need them, I'll have them. I think we talked about the bird flu last time. But I tell you, I am hearing it's gossip at this point. I have nothing to base this on other than people are starting to chatter. And that is that with some of the changes in the trucking regulations in California, independent truck drivers are fleeing the state like every other citizen and business. And that is going to sharply impact not only getting goods from the ships across the United States, but the types of how much it's going to cost for those who are still there and doing it to ship. I don't know the whole background because I don't get into California politics. I probably should understand it a little better just so that I can have intelligent conversation about it. But apparently there was a law passed in California that along with cars, over-the-road trucks are going to have to be electric. Well, anybody that has ever bought a used diesel truck knows it's a nightmare to make those payments. Having to buy, because there's no used over-the-road 18-wheel tractors out there. I didn't even know if they make them yet. But there's no used ones out there to buy. And how long is it going to take you to charge them? I mean, you could probably try putting a solar panel on top. You're going to get a little bit of trickle charge, but I can't imagine you're going to get enough charge to keep that truck rolling very long. And you put the strain of a trailer on the back of it, loaded down. Let's say, okay, let's use this example. Let's just say cars, automobiles from Japan and Korea and, coming over on ship. If you can get them here on ship with a battery powered ship, I don't know, nuclear battery, I guess. I don't know. We've got nuclear submarines. Maybe we can have nuclear tankers. I don't know. Anyway, so they come across over on these and you're at the loading docks and you're trying to move these cars, which are, I don't even know if you can ship, because if California has outlawed the sales of internal combustion engine automobiles by, I don't know, 2025, 2030, whatever it is, can you even ship them into those ports? Or are they going to have to go around? Because you would have to be able to, you'd either have to tow them off the ships onto the electric powered tractor trailers, or you'd have to start them up to move them to get them on there. Think this through. So I've got this gas powered vehicle because it is legal to sell a gas powered internal or diesel internal combustion engine sedan in West Virginia. And so I've got to get it here from California. I guess they're coming over from Cal. I don't know if they're coming across the Atlantic or not. But anyway, for the example. So I can't start the engine to take it off the ship onto the electric 18-wheeler because you're not allowed to have diesel or gasoline 18-wheelers in California after the particular date. And so they're going to drive that electric vehicle to the state line before it runs out of power. I don't know how many miles you'd be able to get on one. But you think of these car haulers, these big ones that, they have, what, 8, 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom? And how much they weigh and the type of motor engine you've got to have to pull all that weight. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? How where are you going to stop and charge? And how long is it going to take you to stop and charge? Is there a solar panel small enough to fit on the top of one that's powerful enough to charge all the batteries on one while you're driving? I mean, this isn't making any sense, people. It's not making any sense. So let's say this then. If California goes, full tilt on this, what if they refuse to let internal combustion engine vehicles be offloaded from these ships in their state at their ports? I don't know how that works, if they're allowed to do that, because I think those ports are federal, aren't they? They're international. But anyway, let's say they can. Okay, anybody who wants a traditional vehicle, gas or diesel, you're going to have to be on a different ship, and it's going to have to go the long way around to the Gulf of Mexico? Or are they going to have to come down and around the Horn of Africa? I don't know. Make our cars here. Make all our cars here. So will they be able to stop ships that are not all electric from docking in California? This is the most I've thought it. And I may be totally out of whack because I don't know what that law is. But is it? I mean, are they going that far? And what's that going to do to the downstream costs of everything that's being shipped and has to come off in California? I don't know. I don't know. But I went that long way around. I guess I went down the long way around to the Gulf Coast, to Gulf of Mexico. I don't know. To say, get ready for more supply chain disruptions. Get yourself ready. Clothing, foods that aren't made here in the grown here in the United States. anything that's going to have to be shipped, this is going to cause another kink. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be so devastating like when everything was shut down back 2 years ago. But what I'm saying is things are tough now. It's not going to get that much better. It's not, because we're still going to have, it's not that there's not enough, it's that we can't get it here. That's what it's going to do. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be that we can't get it here again. So look at all your options. Reach out to your extended family, to your community. See, think of it as community, smaller communities where we can barter and help each other. I'm going to the store, and you need just a handful of things, and you don't want to get it delivered. You need something from this, and I'm going to do that for you. And in exchange, you're going to, I don't know, make a quart of apple butter. I don't know. Or you have apple trees and I have a good crop of green beans, and we trade. But start thinking this stuff through. Start thinking this stuff through. If it was hard to come by when we were all stuck at home, start trying to stock up on it now. It could be hard to get again. If California actually does that. And they would have, I guess, every right to. Like I said, I don't know if they can, how they can impact international ports, or if that's strictly federal. But I mean, if they're saying that they're not going to let, they can't sell anything but electric cars in their state. I mean, isn't that? I mean, how? I don't see how that doesn't affect interstate commerce. I don't know. I think these things through, and I don't have anybody to bounce them off of sometimes. So. Oh, let's see. About to wind this down. February is my birthday month, by the way. Not that I want a gift, but for those of you who might consider staying at Holstein House, direct book, and there's going to be a special promo code just for my birthday month, and that will get you an additional 10% off the regular room rate. And that regular rate's already lower than going through Airbnb, so it'll be on top of that. And there's a couple, we'll still have the Hall's chocolate and Coal River coffee specials going for that too. So, keep in touch, subscribe to this YouTube stream, like and share on the podcasts and things to keep up on what's going on. I've got a Substack, which I'm really bad about keeping updated. That if you go to Substack and subscribe, then or follow it, then you'll get. I'm going to hopefully get some of this stuff out of here today and updated and stuff, so that we're back where I need to be. Let's see. I think that's really just about got it all done. I am looking for folks, if you are interested in being interviewed on this, whether it be for the podcast or for the YouTube. If you have something unique that you'd like to share, it doesn't even have to be unique. I'm trying to stay apolitical here. That's hard for me. It's very hard for me, but I know it's not something that people don't like to. If they're looking at the YouTube and listening to the podcast, they're not listening to it for the politics, because I've said it a couple other times. I don't want to be another angry white Christian screaming around about how life is unfair. I am a Christian. I am Caucasian. Those two things don't change. They are as much part of me as my DNA and my chromosomes. but I'm trying to, if I decide I just can't stay away from the politics, I'll start a different one to do that. But I will share, religious, well, I say religious, but Christian things here from time to time, and I reserve the right to do that. But for the most part, we're just really going to be chatting here about society and culture issues that affect West Virginia and the United States. Food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, that front porch, current events and stuff, like that. So I kind of, as much as I love politics, there's just so much of it out there. They don't need to hear from me. But I will call it a day there, and I appreciate those of you who stopped by, and I will be back again on Tuesday with a more structured video and podcast. So I will stop there, and you guys have a great weekend. And look, go to church. What was that they used to say? Attend the synagogue, church or synagogue of your choice. Come on, get back to that. We all need that. We really do. And you can deny it all day long, all day, baby. But the fact of the matter is, we all need that grounding. So until next time, my friends, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.